Hi guys, it's Jacob from StringBuzz here, stringbuzzworld.org being the music journalism site, links are in the description down below. And it's finally here, we have StringBuzz's top 10 worst artists of the year 2016. I'm going to refer to the original article as I usually do for these videos, especially for these longer videos, so I hope you enjoy. Now before we dive into this, let's remember that this isn't a worst songs list. If you want to see that, it should be up here. Click on our channel or something down below and you'll see that there's a worst songs list already on. There's also posted to the site as well. This list, however, is dedicated to the repeat offenders who have either put out track after track of garbage or album after album of nonsense. This list goes out to those who never tried to stretch themselves this year and put the music largely second. So with that in mind, should we just get into it now? Starting with number 10, we have Meghan Trainor. I struggle to find any pleasantries I can really say about Meghan, despite her huge following and growing musical catalogue. But each track she has released this year has just been rough as heck to sit through, especially as a music journalist. It's just track after track, banging on about the same themes about how she wants to be loved, but yet she hates all men. It feels like the lady is stuck in a teenage mindset, a frustrated teenage mindset. She made our worst songs of the year list with No, and hence deserves to have a spot on this list with that accolade alone. But no, if you'd pardon that pun, her latest album, Thank You, is a train wreck from start to finish, and I have yet to find one of her songs even remotely bearable. So I guess this is a great way to cap off this list, or at least start off this list. Coming in at number 9, we have Tova Lo. Tova Lo is one of those artists who will keep hanging on to the mainstream without anybody really knowing how or why. Sure, she had a good year last year and in 2014, but that was largely down to the remixes that catapulted her tracks onto the charts once again. But this year, without having remixing or that DJ support she once had, she has released some of the most dire tracks I've heard from an emerging talent to date. She is completely characterless as she spits out cliches and smutty remarks over some of the blandest backing tracks imaginable. Another artist to feature on our worst songs list as well, she recently released a whole album full of calamitous tracks that really possess no life or substance whatsoever. Another singer trying to be edgy for edginess' sake. On to number 8 now, we have Keke Palmer. The worst EP I have heard in my entire life comes from the singer and actress Keke Palmer this year. Is that not enough as to why she features on this list? Well, her songs are disjointed, clunky, lacking emotion, lacking substance, lacking vocal range, lacking vocal domination, lacking diversity, lacking variation, lacking individuality, and lacking just everything musical. She has been a laugh to review, but that doesn't make her music in the least bit good. The only reason why she's on this list so high is that she hasn't really released too much music this year, so I guess she saved her own back on this one. Moving on to number 7, we have Bon Iver. Perhaps a controversial one, this one, but I think Bon Iver produced the worst album of the year, period. When you consider my immense fandom for the group prior and my eagerness to listen to their latest record, it makes it that much harder for me to accept how bad they've been this year. They single-handedly created the most pretentious and nonsensical LP of the year, and that's hard for me to admit. They also had a track feature on our worst list, and deservedly so. They were a hair away from releasing the worst put-together track of the year with 715 Creeks. They are behind the game now, and when I think of poetically beautiful artists, I will think of Will Varley, Frank Turner and Damien Rice, not Bon Iver. Moving on to number 6 here, we have Bon Jovi. I guess you could say there's been 2 Bons in a row. Well, they've both been controversial choices, but both deservedly so. Bon Jovi has released some of the worst rock tracks of the decade here, yet are given a pass because they are old and they've been around for a long time. Yes, I can understand the fan service, but I'm a music reviewer, not a Best Achievement award giver. And their latest album, yeah, it sucked. Each track sounds withered and uninspiring. When you compare what they have done at this stage in their careers to say like a Black Sabbath, a Dream Theater and Iggy Pop, then they really have no rebuttal for this. Deservedly so on this list. Moving on to number 5 now, we have the king of features himself, Chris Brown. Chris Brown has released about 934 million tracks this year and has featured on probably double that, and every single one sucks. Yeah, you get the point with this one. Moving on to number 4 now, we have Zara Larsson. Track after track of pure garbage, Zara is yet to impress me or even showcase to me as to why she's so popular. It feels like she's famous because we've been told that she's famous, and I kind of hate that. So much money has clearly been pumped into her promotion that it really stunts me as to why she's so popular. I don't think she has a particularly large, active following, and all the comments on her videos are about her looks, and that doesn't mean she has good music, does it? She has released countless eye-rolling tracks that have been a pain to review. With tracks featuring on everyone's worst list this year, I can see why she landed on this list in particular. Moving on to number 3, here we have Future. Yet again, Future has had another woeful year. Yet again, I find myself clueless when reviewing his tracks and completely confused as to why he's famous as well. His lyrics are bad, his beats are bad, his production is always bad, and his flow is bad. Why do people listen to him? Now, I don't want to knock anyone's taste, but I think rap at the moment is going through a golden age comeback period, and the quality is at an all-time high. But people like this keep bringing it back down, and I just don't know why you'd listen to him over other rappers. It just baffles me how this guy is getting bigger and bigger every year. Future's music is the biggest prank of the year that's gone too far. Moving on to number 2, we have ASAP Ty. Anyone who gets that number 1 spot on our worst songs list immediately gets this spot. Although I've only heard 1 or 2 tracks from this artist, Trump was enough to completely turn me away and hang my head in shame. If you can release 1 track that's so bad it sours an entire year, you've got a good reason as to why you're appearing on this list. Finally, on to number 1 here, in our gold medal spot for worstness, I guess you could say, we have the Chainsmokers. Now, I guess you could predict this one if you've been following the site or YouTube channel. I've mentioned this a couple of times, so yeah, this should come as no surprise. Now, I know, to many people, 2016 will seem like the Chainsmokers' year. They've made hit after hit and dominated the charts for a stupidly long time. But as a reviewer, I found the Chainsmokers the hardest to listen to. They rip off their own tracks, writing the same song over and over again, almost identically so, yet people seem to eat it up. They pick bland and predictable features who add nothing to their songs, and it's just painstaking to get through. Each track is just a verse and a chorus with a synth breakdown after each chorus, and nothing ever changes. Not a single bridge and not a single variant melody. They have spent the whole year coasting off of 1 song which they proceeded to remake in a different key over and over again. By far the laziest band I've had the displeasure of reviewing, they managed to completely throw me off American electronic music. Everyone seems to be copying their unoriginal sound now, and they've had a net negative effect on the music world. The worst part for me being a music journalist is that their songs aren't horrifically bad. They're not so bad that people actually want to hear my opinion on them, about how bad they are. They want to hear me rant. But they're so standard, or so just below standard, that they never really stretch themselves, and they know that they're going to be let off because it's not as bad as other people. And you can't build a career on just not being as bad as other people. It doesn't work that way, especially when it comes to competition. I mean, obviously they've been so commercially successful, but critically each track should be bombing. Definitely deserved of this top spot, and if you like this video, then please leave a like, subscribe to see more, and I'll see you around next time. Bye-bye.